Handcuffs snapped around my wrists before I'd even had a chance to pull on a shirt, with red and blue lights splashing through the trees outside my cabin, the air sharp and cold for a summer dawn. Neighbors crept out in bathrobes, clutching mugs and cell phones, eyes wide as they watched 3 patrol cars pull up my driveway. Nobody expecting to see a man dragged out of his own home at sunrise. And there, standing dead center like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment, was Denise Parker, our HOA president, voice cracking with fake tears, waving at the officers. "Thank God you're here." I was terrified to call, but he's been getting more aggressive every day. You ever have a neighbor lie so well you start to question your own sanity? Because let me tell you, nothing will wake you up like realizing the person who just called you a danger to the neighborhood is the one who's been trying to ruin your life since the minute you moved in. Let me back up for a second, because if you'd told me a year ago, I'd end up here 44 years old, divorced former Army combat engineer, getting accused of who knows what by a woman who barely knows me, I'd have laughed you out the room. But life's got a mean sense of humor sometimes. 6 years ago, one stupid mistake, a DUI after my buddy's retirement party, cost me my security clearance, my job, and my marriage. Clean ever since, doing long stints as a traveling welder, trying to string my life back together, one paycheck, one apology at a time. Then out of nowhere, Uncle Roberto passed, left me this old, creaky log cabin on Crystal Lake, a property that looked like it hadn't seen a dime or a dust rag since the Carter administration. Only family member who didn't cut me off after my screw-up. That place meant more than money, more than a fresh start. It meant someone still believed in me. The thing about old cabins is you never know what you're inheriting. This one came with history dust, and as I'd find out fast, the only private boat ramp for miles, a fact that made my fixer-upper a prime target in a neighborhood where lakefront access is pretty much code for let's fight over something. I came in with $45,000 in savings, a battered old truck, and one plan: get the place livable, maybe turn it into a rental and live quietly. I thought remote meant peaceful. I didn't realize it meant target practice for someone like Denise. Denise Parker. That name should come with a warning label. Freshly divorced, mid-40s, smallest house in the neighborhood, but biggest voice by a mile. First time I meet her, she shows up on my doorstep with a stack of HOA paperwork thicker than my arm. "Mr. Rivera, we have urgent business." You ever had someone talk at you like you're the dog that pooped on her porch? That's the vibe. She shoves a violation notice in my hand, $12,000 in fines, demands for emergency repairs, threats of sheriff eviction in 48 hours if I don't fix hazardous conditions. Photos, legalese, the works. But the real hazard was her attitude. I'm not proud, but my Army training kicked in. I nearly lost it, voice rising, heart thumping, when Walter Hayes wandered over from next door. Walter's what you'd call a professional old-timer. Retired Marine engineer, lived on the lake since the 80s, a steady hand when the world gets wobbly. He rested a palm on my shoulder. "Easy, son. Don't give her what she wants. Let's handle this smart." So I did, at least for a minute, played it cool, told Denise I'd review everything and get back to her. She walked away, heels snapping on the gravel, and I swear every click felt like a countdown. Walter and I had beers on his dock that night, swapping stories. He filled in the blanks. Turns out Denise had tried to funnel $60,000 from the HOA's fund into emergency repairs, aka her own kitchen remodel. She lost the house, lost her marriage. Now she wanted a win any way she could get it. And my boat ramp, the prize she thought would save her. "You're her target now," Walter said, eyeing the sunset. "But she doesn't know what your uncle paid for that ramp, 20 grand in 1979. Also, he could have his own access. That ramp's on your deed. Always has been." The puzzle pieces clicked together. Denise wasn't just a busybody. She was desperate. And desperate people make the worst enemies. It didn't take long for things to go from annoying to all-out warfare. Denise didn't just send threatening letters, she went door to door whispering in neighbors' ears about my criminal record, saying I was tanking their property values. Within a week, the neighborhood split. Some folks believed her, others remembered Uncle Roberto and figured I wasn't half bad. The rest just wanted to fish in peace. Meanwhile, I was burning through cash, $8,000 just on repairs, trying to stay one step ahead of eviction. Every day brought new anonymous complaints, welding noise, dangerous criminal warnings in mailboxes, HOA notices that cost me more in legal reviews than I care to admit. People I'd never met crossed the street to avoid me at the store. That's when I called my old buddy Jake in Texas and said, "Man, maybe I ought to cut my losses and run." Jake Blunt as ever shot back Jim. "You've been running long enough. When are you going to stand and fight?" I almost listened to the little voice that said, "Pack up," but Walter stopped me. "Your uncle left you this place because he knew you'd fight for it. Some trouble finds you whether you want it or not." The next morning, we went to the courthouse, dug through ancient property records, and found the original survey, ironclad proof. The boat ramp was private. The HOA didn't even exist when it was built. But Walter counseled patience. "Don't show your cards yet. Let her hang herself first." And sure enough, Denise called an emergency meeting, rolling out fake documents, neighbor petitions, even my DUI record, trying to make me the community's boogeyman. I could have destroyed her right then, but I waited, letting her dig deeper. Afterwards, she cornered me. "Jim, I need that ramp. $50,000, $1,000 cash right now." You ever hear someone say need with that hungry look in their eye? This wasn't about the community. She was running from something and I didn't know what. Her tactics got nastier. Anonymous complaints brought building inspectors, environmental officers, even a welfare check. Somebody had reported me as a dangerous vet with PTSD. Flyers started popping up about community safety. Online groups painted me as unstable, aggressive. The pressure built until one afternoon in the hardware store, Denise staged a public confrontation, asking loudly if I'd finally be reasonable about the boat ramp. I snapped, told her it was my property, and watched the crowd turn against me. She had me boxed in, and she knew it. That night, Walter laid it out. "She's pushing you into a corner. Time to fight back." So at the next meeting, when Denise claimed decades of community use gave them rights to my ramp, I stood up and produced the original survey. "This ramp's been private since day one. My uncle built it. It's on my deed." Dead silence, then a tidal wave of murmurs. Denise scrambled for a comeback, prescriptive easement, legal mumbo-jumbo, but Walter backed me up, telling everyone he was there when the stakes went in the ground. Suddenly, neighbors were asking if they'd really been using my ramp all these years. The tide was turning. Denise cornered, tried one last play. "I need 3 days," she hissed. "Don't force me to do something drastic." That night, she sat at her kitchen table, foreclosure notices and custody documents spread out, calling some shady marina developer, promising a deal she couldn't deliver. She was about to lose everything, house money, even her kids. That desperation turned criminal fast. She snuck onto my property at 2 a.m., planting fake evidence, oil cans, trash, snapping pictures. What she didn't know was that my Army days left me paranoid. I'd rigged trail cams and motion sensors all over the place. I caught her red-handed muttering about emergency evacuations and buying time with the prosecutors. The next morning, the environmental officer looked at her evidence, then my footage. "File charges," he said. "This is criminal." But sitting in my truck holding all that proof, I hesitated. I remembered my own screw-up, how second chances matter. So instead of going to the cops, I went to Denise's door, offered her a way out if she'd just tell the truth. She broke down, told me about her ex, the $380,000, $1,000 debt, the looming threat of jail and losing her kids. I felt sorry for her for about 5 minutes. But when I suggested legal help, she snapped. "Legal takes too long. I need that money now." Walter warned me mercy's good, but not if it hurts the good folks who just want peace. That night, Denise doubled down, researching document forgeries, hacking old HOA records, making fake surveys and neighbor statements. By the next meeting, she rolled in with a stack of forged documents so slick they fooled half the room. Claimed I was the fraud, the ramp had always been community property. That's when I played the footage her in the dead of night trespassing and tampering. Neighbors erupted. Even her old friends turned. Walter and the former president stood up, called her out, said enough was enough. I gave her one last out, 24 hours to confess or I'd go to the sheriff. Her parting shot. You have no idea what I'm capable of. She used those last hours to orchestrate the final play, called 911 from a payphone, claiming I was a violent criminal threatening the neighborhood. When the police arrived at dawn, Denise had a folder of forgeries, a sob story, and the performance of her life. I nearly got dragged off in cuffs, but Officer Williams, thank God he was a vet too, paused long enough to call the county clerk. 30 seconds later, it was all over. The clerk confirmed my ownership, the boat ramp, the whole deal. William saw the forgery for what it was. Denise got read her rights right there in front of everyone, facing felony charges for forgery, false police reports, trespassing, and attempted theft. Justice came hard and fast. Denise lost her house, her money, even her kids. 2 years in prison, 6 months on top for lying to the cops. HOA changed overnight, new leadership, full transparency, quarterly audits, clear rules. I started a formal dock program, charged fair fees, upgraded the ramp, made the place better than it had ever been. Neighbors actually thanked me for sticking it out, for making things better instead of just leaving. Last I heard, Denise was mopping courthouse floors on work release. No contact with her kids, her name, a cautionary tale for anyone thinking of playing dirty. And me, I built a life here, turned that cabin into a home. My welding business into a community staple, my lake into a place where neighbors gather, kids play, and trouble gets left at the property line. Funny how the worst thing someone can do to you sometimes gives you the best shot at building something real. That's what I learned. Winning isn't just about beating the bad guys, it's about building something better, something that lasts longer than the conflict. So what do you think? Was I right to show mercy, or should I have gone scorched earth from the start? Drop your thoughts below, because sometimes the real story is just getting started in the comments.